This is 9609 Merino Drive. This is the house, our first house, my husband and I, John, and my name's Tina. We had 2 children together. They grew up in this house. I homeschooled in this house. Our kids all the way up to 9th grade. And right now, see, our rights are given by God, not man. And they separated me and my husband when Jesus said we're not to separate what God has joined. He's listening to man. Our rights are not given by man. Our rights are given by God. And he's listening to man. And he's given all the support by everybody, when I'm the one who's trying to listen to God, who says we're not to separate what God has joined. I'm supposed to go get my husband. I can't go get him. Look, he's inside the house. I don't have a key. He's in there with another woman, and I don't have anybody, church or state, to help me interrupt this. This is not okay. We're supposed to be protecting the marriage bed. Jesus would speak through the prophets' mouths to set it up where the Jews were to pull people out in the very act of adultery. But I don't even have any support here, not from church or state right now. And I'm not supposed to get angry that my husband is sleeping with another woman. All the lights are out. In that bed that we spent time in for 20 years or so. In that house that our kids grew up in, there's another woman in the driveway. She belongs to another man. And my husband is supposed to be, with me. We're supposed to be cleaving. We're not supposed to be apart. He's supposed to meet the needs of his wife sexually. We're not supposed to be apart. What do you think is going to happen? We're going to be led into temptation to sleep with others. Drink from another well if we can't even drink from our own well. And this is what our government's doing to people. Provoking them to anger. Provoking them to sleep with others. In sin. We can only be not in sin if we're sleeping together. Sleeping with others is sin. I'll never be able to have sex without it being sin the rest of my life unless this has helped. His body is no longer his but mine. I'm supposed to drink from my own well. I can't. He's drinking from another right there. I can't even get in to drink from my own well. Our government's doing this. A dividing and conquering, a destroying, leaving him unprotected, me unprotected, our kids unprotected. What do you think our kids are doing right now? Seeing that their dad is sleeping with another woman. And if they're okay with it, they're sick because they're divorced too. As soon as they're in sexual marital sin too, because our laws aren't okay or protecting them as well. I'm supposed to be his helpmate. I can't even be his helpmate. He's not supposed to be alone. It's not good for man to be alone. So look, he's with another woman now. Because I don't have a key. I don't have my marriage certificate back. And you wonder why there's tornadoes. Here I prayed for God to show us mercy in this country. I prayed for God to show us mercy. I don't know that we had tornadoes here. But you know what? I guess I shouldn't do that. Because it doesn't look like anybody wants to help me. So God, I pray that you will help this situation. That you will send some help for getting him into a Godly Living Treatment Center. And get him off his meds so he can think right. He never was able to pray for anyone to get healed. He's never been healed himself. Only he prayed for his dad when early in our marriage, when he was never on medication. And he got healed. But that's only when we were able to cleave, when we were living in the same house together. Before there was divisions that start happening. We need to get rid of all divisions. The government needs to give us back our marriage certificates, tell us where to go to safely cleave, even if we live in two places. And the reason is because we don't have godly living treatment centers built. You shouldn't bring people who've been abused like me from him. I've been abused by him. He can act as charming as he wants when he's sitting there dating somebody. But if he can treat his own wife the way he's treating his wife, what do you think he's going to do with this lady when they're both in adultery? But the thing is she's writing all this stuff, how wonderful, and everybody in this neighborhood is sitting there supporting it, which is sickening. They're supporting evil. And instead of sitting there talking some sense into my husband, which is totally wrong. In Little House on the Prairie, all the men surrounded the man and told him not to sit there and harm his wife by divorcing her, because it causes her to sin. If a man divorces his wife, he causes her to commit adultery. It didn't say it might cause her to commit adultery. It says it causes her to commit adultery because she's no longer able to be faithful to God or to her husband because she can't obey any of the commands of God. And it's like, I get harmed the worst. It didn't even say that the man's committing adultery, although he's being unfaithful to God's commands. Where men, it says we're not to let a man separate what God has joined. It's like the courts are sitting there, the ones that are wrong, because they let him. And they're letting him hurt his wife, destroy his wife.